So I met Ted I met Ted's parents actually. Chick and Ruth, they had a deli that was in Annapolis, Maryland, which is where the U.S. Naval Academy is. And when did your mom and dad open there?
We opened in 1965.
Okay, 1965. So Ted's we'll talk a little bit about how he initially started Faces of Valor, and coincidentally, we both, being business owners in Annapolis, evolved into helping and identifying military organizations.
Yeah. So the store was running as a restaurant, which it is today, and but back in it was '89 actually, for no reason other than people complaining, and their glasses were always half empty. My dad's was always half full. We were discussing one day when people were talking about burning the flag, that people aren't supportive enough of the military and the police, fire, EMS. So we started February 9th to '89. We started doing the pledge to the flag every single day, just because we could, and we thought it was the right thing to do. And then, of course, the war came about, like you said, and there was a lot of big uprising, and people were supporting the military more. And so we just basically, that's what we were doing, the pledge every day to support the military.
Yeah. And I remember it was a really big deal. I mean, your dad would get up, he'd be on a microphone. You have a little loudspeaker system there, and it's a nice sized restaurant, and always packed. In the morning for breakfast, and your dad would get up and say, "Okay, everybody, please, we're going to all stand, and there was a flag right above the cash
register.
Yeah. Okay, and we're all going to stand up, and I'm asking you to just please stand, and we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance." And it became kind of famous.
Yeah, we were on Good Morning America, the Today Show, and
exactly.
And people like it. They like doing the right thing. They don't even realize it, but they do like doing the right thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we did it for years, and then my parents, mom first, and then my dad passed away. But in the meantime, way before that, my wife joined me. We got married 37 years ago now, in '80, and so we decided. My wife and I were talking at one point that we wanted to do something more than just do the pledge. Instead of walking the walk, we wanted to talk the talk. We wanted to walk the walk. So I had this car, and I was going to paint it pearl white, and my wife said, "That'll look ugly pearl white. You can't paint it pearl white." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, then I was going to take a picture of my cousin, which was a Vietnam vet. He was killed in Vietnam, a helicopter, and we were going to paint a picture of him on one side with his helicopter. And then I told her about that, and she said, "Well, maybe, but definitely not with plain pearl white." But then a couple, Steve and Beth Samus, came in the restaurant every year for the Marine Corps Marathon, and I met them, and they would bring another couple just to do the pledge every year, day before the Marine Corps Marathon. And one year they came in, which is 12 years ago now, and they came in by themselves that time, and they said they wanted to sit and talk to me. They had something to tell me. And at that point, long story short, they told me that their son Ben was killed in Iraq. And they just, when I asked how he was, they just burst out crying and couldn't talk. And then they told me what they came for, which was that. My wife came over, didn't know what was going on. Beth did, and I told her what happened, and we're sitting he went and told me the whole story of how he got killed and until he died, because he lived for a couple days. And we decided then and there that we were going to use his picture. We asked Steve and Beth Samus for Ben's picture with his helicopter and my cousin's. Long story short, it came up when I went to the airbrush artist. I painted the car pearl white. We took him the car, and we said, "Here's what we want to do, and we want to call it Faces of Valor." And that's when it really came about. My wife says, when I was talking to her one night, we can probably, if you paint the car like that, we can probably raise some money. I'm like, "Yeah, you think so?" She said, "Oh, yeah, you can." I said, "Okay, we'll raise a couple $1,000s and donate it to some military." Well, the airbrush artist didn't want to put two faces on it. He wanted, because we're going to call it Faces of Valor, he wanted a lot of faces. So people that me and my wife know personally, all around the car in the back and the other sides are all military and police. We know personally everyone. The firefighters I met through a guy named Robert Jackson at Engine 54 in New York. And I met these fellows one time when I was visiting him. And in the meantime, instead of putting his picture on, he couldn't decide. And when I went up to New York and met the fellows that were living at the station, this was after 9/11, they couldn't pick anybody either. And because they couldn't, I didn't want to. So we ended up there's all 18 of the firefighters, the first two engines that pulled up to the first tower. They all got killed when the tower came down.
Wow.
So it ended up, it was about a 2-year process to paint the car and put it together. And we did. And we figured, my wife said, "We can have an event and raise some money." And I figured, we raised a couple $1,000s and that would be it. And she was right. We started the foundation up, and we started out, I think, $5,500 the first year. And then 16, 40, 70, and now we're going between 70 and 110 a year that we raise. And there's 43 faces, someone represented from every service branch.
Which is around the other side.
Yeah, the other
Okay,
side,
right.
and including police, fire, and EMS. And on the hood are all the logos of all the service branches, including police, fire, and EMS. So with that, it's all the first responders. And we raise money every year, and we try and help a couple soldiers that are in need. We have, 3 events in one? So it's a family picnic, so anybody can come to the event.
You did that event here in Annapolis,
It's in Annapolis,
like in
at
June.
Elks.
Uh-huh.
It's always the last Sunday in June. It's at the Elks in Annapolis. We will have at another location, the Outback in Annapolis. We start out there with a couple hundred motorcycles and whoever we're honoring, and we police escort the honoree through town up Main Street, out on Route 50, and we end up at the Elks where there's already a few hundred people waiting because there's a classic car show, which people can bring their cars. They pay to be in. They donate to be in the classic car show. It could be antiques, street rods, whatever. And then people are at the picnic. So now you have a few hundred people. As we pull in, they're already there to cheer on the honorees that we have. And then the motorcycle pulls in, and then we have a big event. So you can donate by coming to the picnic, car show, motorcycle ride, or sponsorships, which is where we make more money. That's where we count on to make money with sponsors, and or just people donating, 200, 300, 150. But that's basically how it started, and we just keep rolling with it. And hopefully raise money to help our military and police. Here at Faces of Valor USA, we honor men and women from all our military, police, fire, and EMS that have been wounded, and we help them out. We might buy them a vehicle, we might finish the basement of their house off, just do things that they need help with that the government doesn't do. Faces of Valor is one of the very few foundations out there. It's all volunteer. No one gets paid, so every penny you donate goes directly to Faces of Valor and the cause and the men and women that help give you the freedoms that you have every day. So please donate to facesofvalorusa.org. You can go to our website, which is just that, facesofvalorusa.org. And right there you can see you can become a sponsor. We'd love to have more sponsors. And or you can buy some product off the website. But please donate. And our event this year is June 24th. It's always the last Sunday in June. And we're honoring a police officer. We're buying him a wheelchair to the tune of about $32,000. And we also have a group of Vietnam veterans and a few World War II vets that are actually going to be there that we're honoring. They're from Charlotte Hall Veterans Home, and we're purchasing crash carts for them, $20-some thousand worth of crash carts to have, and also making sure every veteran there has a 32-inch flat screen. Thank you, and please go to our website and check us out.